I mean, you said you went on hunts with her and stuff like that. That's what we got out of that on that chapter. I'm sure there would have, if Vera made it back, I'm sure there would have been tension of some kind. Can we also take a second to talk about the fact that Vera literally threw her life away for you when she met you 10 minutes ago?
Yeah, that's the part that hurts. I wasn't that attached when she died for me. I'm like, oh,
Okay. She just died looking at you in
I'm
adoration.
like, oh my God, I super misread the situation. Now I feel awful.
You await Queen Thecla in her great throne room, a large hall festooned with banners of various important noble houses and busy with gossiping courtiers. The courtiers' main topic of conversation at the moment appears to be you, as you catch darting glances around the room, but they are subtle. You never quite catch a direct stare. Since you're still relatively unknown in the capital, you suppose it's your clothing that is drawing their attention. What have you decided to wear to court?
Well, definitely this. The +3 charisma probably will help me. Not my yellow shirt.
Don't want to go towards the glamour somewhere.
Let's just stick with this.
You decide your fanciest clothing will continue to serve your purpose just fine. The courtiers are extremely impressed by your sense of style. They recognize and approve of the capital clothier where you obtained your outfit. Uh, Navy clothes are definitely coming back now, you overhear.
Fancy.
The courtier's own outfits are highly exaggerated, with long pointed shoes that curl at the tips, and giant feathered hats that must make it a challenge to navigate a crowded room. You suppose they're advertising the fact that they are too important to ever do anything menial. It's hard to not get caught up in the romance of the throne room. You can easily imagine the weddings of monarchs past, the processional down the red carpet towards the throne, well-wishers strewing petals from the balconies. The lovers retreat through the doors in the back to the royal bedrooms. But then you remember the royal family has had more funerals than weddings of late.
Uh,
Queen Tecla has seen only the bleaker kind of ceremony in her lifetime. The throne, a large gilded seat flaking at the edges but still commanding, is accompanied by a second seat made of what appears to be pure alabaster. The back of the chair is engraved with a flame, an eye, and a sun. This must be the seat for the Queen's blessed advisor. You briefly wonder whether you will get a chair as well.
what? Okay.
A servant in the Queen's navy blue and gold livery emerges from the back door behind the throne and beckons to you. You follow him through the back door and into a passage that seems to not be intended for the public, judging from the old stone walls that appears dusted but unadorned. Burning torches provide the light. There are no windows.
All right.
A servant knocks on a plain-looking wooden door. Come in, commands an alto from within. The servant opens the door, and you're surprised to find yourself being led into the queen's bedchamber. The queen herself sits at a cluttered writing desk. She wears a puffy white dress that sparkles in the light from the barred skylight above. She looks younger than you expected. You knew she was 33, 8 years older than you, but somehow you had expected her to look more middle-aged. Her smooth skin and lustrous long hair admit no ravages of time, but her eyes bespeak hard-earned wisdom and a touch of amusement. You wonder at first where you're supposed to sit. A canopied four-post bed? The queen pushes her chair away from the desk slightly, and the servant drags a cushioned chair out from behind the veiled bed into position across from the queen. Have a seat, Queen Thecla says, unless you plan to conjure a better one. Her attitude is pleasant but slightly sardonic. You have the strange sensation of being watched from elsewhere, and you notice tiny embrasures on three of the walls where arrows could pass. Protection from assassination seems to have trumped aesthetic concerns at nearly every stage of the palace's design, and you have no doubt you would be full of arrows in a moment if you made any sudden moves. You slowly and deliberately take the seat opposite the queen. You must be Mayor Koss's secret wizard, Queen Thecla
In
says.
indeed.
You affirm. I understand you're willing to be my advisor, but the deal is not yet final on my end, Queen Thecla says. I'd just like you to answer some questions for me first. She pauses, and you stifle a go ahead because it would be presumptuous to give the queen permission to do anything.
It's like, I can't. I mean, yeah, yeah.
Are the magics of the saints the magics of the ancients one and the same? Queen Thecla asks you. Just going right for the throat.
Dang. All right. I mean, hey, I'm here to tell the truth. Yeah, they're the exact same.
Describe the church's plot to these mages as saints to the best of your knowledge. How interesting, Queen Thecla says lightly. Why do you see fit to reveal their deception?
Truth is always preferable to falsehood. Yeah, I'm going for truth. Historian man.
Murderer.
Shush.
There are many to do with you, the Queen says. Sometimes it's wiser not to reveal how the sausage is made. You can tell that your response is not endeared you to the Queen, but at least the Queen now knows that the church is deceptive.
Good. Off to a nice start.
I suppose she was looking for someone who can play the royal court game, huh?
I certainly am bad at that.
And which of the ancient schools do you specialize in? Queen Thecla asks. I have read a little of all 5 in books we have not seen fit to turn over to the church. Vivimancy, negation. She says this last word with a kind of naughty grin, but you can't quite tell whether you're being baited. You don't have to be entirely honest, but you suspect the Queen might see through a complete bluff.
Basically, you don't have to tell your highest stat, but...
Your 2 highest are automation and divination, when divination is definitely your highest.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what this means, basically.
Yeah, I believe your ranking at this point is divination, automation, a large gap, and then vivimancy, glamour, then negation.
Yep. Which one do I tell her? Do I go just for the knowledge is power or automation?
Knowledge is power, but I never lie.
Sure, you know what? Already on the truth.
I tend to agree, Queen Thecla says, pleased. If you can predict the future and spy on enemies of the crown, that is invaluable.
Thank you. I thought so.
You say. The Queen asks you various questions about what you can and cannot scry on. She seems positively thrilled at the variety of things you've been able to do with divination so far. But your powers are probably best kept a secret, Queen Thecla muses aloud. If our enemies knew of them, they would probably begin to act erratically to try to throw off the chains of prophecy.
That could be good, right?
You point out. Queen Thecla grimaces. I don't like unpredictability. Quite the opposite. She's not a hoity-toity queen, that's for sure. She's definitely like... She's like a fucking scheming killer, honestly.
I really can't tell how good she is.
The queen leans forward and steeples her fingers. Now, tell me about your hopes and dreams, she says. What is at the end of this road for you? You're at a fucking job interview. You find it a bit difficult to answer honestly when it's clear she's trying to evaluate your character and usefulness, but she seems like the sort who finds honesty refreshing, to a point.
She's like, where do you see yourself in 10 years? Alright, so I want one thing at a time, create something marvelous, I want power. I find magic fascinating. I want to learn like it. Power I can't for as long as you can. You know what? I kind of want to do this. I want to make something marvelous.
Okay. Something really marvelous. The queen looks wistfully for a moment. Do you understand I've never had that option? It must be grand to have the freedom to devote to an art. I tried to take up painting in my spare time, but I've come to accept I'll never have the time to become truly great. But good for you. You become slightly more harmless in Queen Thecla's eyes, for better or worse.
I'm definitely flubbing this job interview.
And now, I've saved the most important question of this interview for last, the Queen says. To whom do you owe your utmost allegiance? Is it me or someone else? The Queen says this lightly, as if any answer will do, but you doubt that.
There's no way. There's a wrong answer. There's several wrong answers in this list. Alright, I shall be your loyal subject first and foremost. My highest loyalty... No.
How confused would she be if you said the church right now?
Like, wait, what? My highest loyalty is to a higher power, Abraxas. It's always to my own conscience. I serve nobody, but I will ally with you for now. This is definitely not a good one. This one is basically me telling you I could stab you in the back. In a room full of arrows, that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not these two, so I'm going to choose between these three. So basically, do I just want to take the fucking job? Say, my main man, JC, or me?
My main man, JC. How strong is your thoughts on Abraxas at this point?
I don't know. He definitely did something when he dipped and quote unquote ascended. Because
Yeah.
the way the book described it is that he just sort of poofed.
And said, I'm God now.
Yeah, and everyone was just like, yeah, that makes sense.
Because
My
let's be real, his whole godly proof that he was a god of creating the negative C out of all those clouds, that could just be done with powerful negation magic, don't you think?
Yeah, so something is wrong there. I'm not gonna say that. I'm just wondering if it's a bad thing to say to my own conscience, because that also could be a bad answer to the queen, and I don't want to die.
Hmm.
This is definitely one of those
Well,
situations where it's a lot more dangerous than is being let on.
well, that one is different from the last one because this one is not just saying you serve your own interest. This one is saying that you do what you think is right, which is a difference.
I'll go with this. Let's see what happens.
Ah, Queen Thecla says, and she grimaces slightly. Just like the nobles who try to hold on to their taxes because their consciences declare that taxation is theft. No, I have a dim view of their own conscience is the final arbiter. It's just a claim you do whatever you please.
It's been an up and down game with this relationship.
It really
That's not it
is.
at all.
You protest. Hmm. Queen Thecla still regards you skeptically. But at least you profess to have morals. That's worth something to the public, I suppose.
Where is there? Where am I at? Hey,
I mean, it could be worse.
it really could.
Somehow Sam still really loves you.
Oh, I feel like that's gonna change the second I see him next time.
Oh god, I read this. Oh god. Okay. Queen Thecla concludes your meeting by saying, well, I'm satisfied, to an extent. You can be my wizard, but I think I want to keep you out of the public eye. I may be impressed with your brazenness, but I worry about if you were forwardly at court. I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, that's actually what I like
Uh,
doing.
The same liveried servant who escorted you before is waiting at the door. Servant Pons can show you to your new quarters and provide you with your first payment. Queen Thecla says, you gain 300 gold. Welcome to the palace, Scribe Fishy. You take this to mean that Queen Thecla will not officially grant you a new title. That's fine. You're more interested in the power of your unofficial office.
Definitely could have gone worse.
Your new room at the palace is what you think is cleared out torture chamber.
Oh. Oh. Yeah, let me show you to your office. You just keep walking downstairs like, we're going really deep into the dungeons. Huh.
Underground and near the dungeon, equipment has been dragged along the stone floors, and there are still little metal nubs in the wall where you assume manacles used to be.
Hmm.
St- Still, it is spacious for all that, and private as well. The queen must have assumed from your conversation that your magical experiments need to be far away from prying eyes.
Hey, you know,
At the same time,
if
it's
it
slightly...
can keep out the
Mhm.
the voices of the screams of those tortured down here, it can definitely keep me quiet.
At the same time, it's slightly embarrassing, and you still gain practice. You gain practice slimming down here when nobody's looking. God. Your practice of taking the palace tunnels everywhere also acquaints you with some of its lesser used old rooms containing antiques, curios, and caches of old books. Gain some ancient knowledge. It seems that every time you gain ancient history, you learn more from the true life of Abraxas.
Neat.
With your new knowledge of ancient history, you find you can now decode the following passage from True Life of Abraxas. I forgot I had you read the things you decode, so go for
Here
it.
we go. Okay. One of the goals that Abraxas never succeeded in accomplishing was that of cleansing the sky of its clouds cover. Though modern life would grind to a halt if all automation came to an end, this is what Abraxas wanted. Perhaps partly because he knew it would cause chaos in the Magisterian Empire. He got as far as some preliminary designs for a cannon to fire at the sky, which went as follows. Gained automation.
A cannon to shoot at the sky?
So maybe if I max out this history, I can learn about how to clear the sky. Alright.
You probably need some pretty ballsy automation, though, too.
Hey, which is what I got.
Your things arrive from Ackerton in a week. Your furniture and possessions remain roughly the same, even if your locale has changed, and you just decorate your new room with the sentimental curios that once adorned your old basement floor. Stormageddon the dragon finds a favorite perch on a small bar poking out of the stone wall. Its previous purpose probably best not thought about. Your secret room beneath the palace admits more freedom than you would have had in the public eye, and you're able to sneak your Gollum Jeff into the room.
It's Jeff!
It's you.
Don't wander out of here without my permission.
You tell your Gollum.
The servants might worry they're being replaced, and that's the last thing we need to have the servants allied against me.
Ola Kala Dominix, the Gollum affirms.
You know the drill. Keep my things safe and help me with the magical experiments as before.
Ola Kala Dominix. Idiot.
Okay. Turns out Dominix just means, like, fucking dumbass.
When you are nearly done moving to the palace, you find a note at the bottom of the wagon bed. Your mother's neat calligraphy is unmistakable. She must have slipped it under a box while she and your father were helping you move. Hey, you read it.
Alright. We will always be proud of you no matter what you do, but remember what Grandma always said, that the greatest magics in the world are love and hope. In a good joke your father wants me to add? I suppose she did say that once. You are dear to us, magical no matter what you do. Try to do good, eat healthy, meet someone nice, preferably wealthy. You might think that doesn't matter, but it does. Your father is acting all insulted now, but of course I mean that if you find true love, you should marry whoever you choose. And if on the other hand you are indecisive, and I know how long you take to... Okay. And I know how long you may take to make choices sometimes, that it couldn't hurt to have a little more income in the family. Love and hope, Mama. She knows
called
me.
out. She got called out.
Of course, my mom would know.
They're watching you play this game.
Maybe if you actually make choices fast in these menus, she would say, like, you make quick choices.
She'd say, calm the fuck down.
Slow down, bitch. Think more.
As a result, your move to the capital, Tal has decided to move there as well.
Hey!
She applies to be a special envoy for the Queen, and her impeccable record as a hunter in Ackerton gets her accepted. She spends much of her time away from the capital on missions, but when she is back in the capital, she spends what time she can with you. She makes a few dissatisfied noises about not being allowed to move in with you, but she stays overnight in the palace so much that she might as well have. You learn from palace gossip that Blessed Sam has been promoted from being an inquisitor and Blessed Jacob's partner to being the Queen's own Blessed Advisor, replacing Blessed Advisor Armand. Oh, huh?
That's really awkward. Ah.
Apparently the higher... Uh-huh.
No, I'm just like, I saw promoted to being the Queen's special advisor.
Yeah, remember that other chair that was next to that thing?
Okay. Hey, Sam!
Apparently, the Hierophant believes that your position as the Queen's magical advisor would be best counterbalanced by someone from the church who knows you. You expect to disagree with him cordially, about a number of things.
Hey, Sam.
Man, I hope that really good
relation.
Yeah. Hey, is his stats changed because he knows that now? I guess he never liked Twinsby that much.
Fuck Twinsby.
Good God, man.
Yeah, you want me to read?
No, we're good. Shortly after you move into the palace, the Queen calls you to her chamber once again. The Queen this time wears a shimmering blue dress with black lace, as formal as the last dress you saw her in. A solemn man in a gray tunic and black cape is bent over to whisper in her ear. He reflexively straightens as you enter. I believe it's time to let you know why I contacted you, the Queen says. This is Spymaster Dole. She nods to the man in gray and black. We received some reports of unusual flying objects near the Negative Sea, Spymaster Dole says. Our spies have now confirmed that small metal vessels have flown out of the Negative Sea, their hulls apparently impervious to the corrosion of the Black Cloud. They have flown over several towns near the Negative Sea now. We believe they are scouts. We haven't had an invasion in over 200 years, Queen Tekla tells you. With the mountains to the north and south and the Negative Sea to the east, our army has only had to deal with the Domitians and their ships from the west, and the occasional insurrection of course. But we're basically out of practice at warfare, while the Magisterian Empire, they probably never gave up either magic or war, and have been practicing since the Negative Sea separated us. Which I think was 2,000 years ago. Let's not be hasty, the Spymaster says with a raised hand. We don't know that they desire war at all. These vessels were magical, certainly, but they are not visibly armed. But they have the technology of the ancients, and we do not, and they can readily see that. Queen Thecla turns to you. And that is where you come in. You must advise us on how to best catch up to the Magisterians. Tell us which magics we need to convince them we aren't backward. You blink at the sudden responsibility.
You're asking me to shape society itself.
No pressure, Kai.
Okay.
Oh, you don't get free reign like that, the queen says. I am bound to listen to the church as well, and they will like none of this. If the people turn against me as a witch, then the kingdom will surely burn. So we must move subtly but swiftly, so that the church cannot turn back the clock. The queen concludes the meeting, asking you to think about what she has said and to prepare for debates on the subject with her blessed advisor, who shall act as the voice of the church in tradition. You are debating against Sam for shaping society and preparing for war potentially.
Oh boy, hey Big Iron.
This is escalated, Big Iron. Your mind reels as you make your way back to your room. What magic should the kingdom revive and which should stay buried? It is a big responsibility, but the Magisterians have only sent scouts so far. You may have a little time yet. I'm gonna let you right now, if you're like a negation specialist, you can basically just build nukes at this point.
Jesus Christ.
That very same evening, you find that a letter has been slipped under your door.
You want me to...
Yeah, you're reading.
It seems the rumors of your death were greatly exaggerated. I am afraid our relationship may have gotten off on the wrong foot. I apologize for my earlier behavior towards you. I am given to understand you may play an essential role in protecting the kingdom. I would not throw the kingdom to the wolves just to protect our old traditions. Traditions that, if the truth be told, I doubt myself often. Do your magic, but try not to be a fool about it. The ancients destroyed this world, and that is no illusion. Sincerely, blessed and most holy, Hierophant Elizabeth.
So it appears Inquisitors won't be trying to abduct you in the night anymore. Probably. You heaved a relieved sigh and crumpled the letter. That not what you expected to get from the Hierophant?
Not really. Well, it's nice that I'm not being targeted.
The next day, you begin the task of deciding just how far the kingdom of Arinia should advance in magic in a short time. You meet in a private chamber with no windows that you think is once used for intimate dining. There is a round table in the center with 3 ornate wooden chairs spaced on equal distance apart. Man, this sounds familiar to something that's going to come up, huh? That's going to come up in D&D soon.
Yeah, sure is.
Though the largest and most ornate chair is surely for the queen. A crystal chandelier provides candlelight in the middle of the day. The blessed advisor is already seated in his chair. Just as you heard from the palace gossip, it's none other than the erstwhile blessed Sam. He gets up to greet you. I heard you were the new advisor, he says. Congratulations. I'm sure we'll be getting along splendidly, even if we don't always agree. Queen Thecla says, by the way, have you seen Twimsby around?
By the way, where'd Twimsby go? I know he was sent to stop you last time we met, but...
I found his shoes at the top of the stairs. I don't know why he left them.
It's so strange.
Queen Thecla wears the most elaborate dress you have seen her wear yet. A floor-length deep blue dress, puffy silhouette and black lace embellishment, and a giant navy blue collar accented with tiny sapphires. When she takes her own chair, the deliberations begin. As you both know, we need to advance in the kingdom in a hurry, Queen Thecla says. She gives Blessed Advisor Sam a steady look. We can't be too attached to the past. But the Book of Abraxas is our compass, Sam objects. Without it, we're just making up rules. I have no patience for myths, nostalgia, or fantasy right now, the Queen interrupts, earning a stung look from Sam. The truth is, there never was a time the world is not changing and out from under us. The world has always been in crisis. The old ways are always dying. The world has always been born anew. Let's start with the creation of impressive ships. You can tell Queen Thecla intends to talk around the Magisterian Empire for as long as possible, just in case someone walks in on your conversation. Describe Fishy. How is it done?
Automation magic, Your Majesty.
You say.
Not only to power the ships themselves, but also to create magical factories that achieve a speed of production unmatched by human hands.
It suddenly dawns on you that even though conventional wisdom blames the ancients for the perpetuate thunderheads above you, the Magisterians may have been using automation for 2,000 years since then, making the storms worse. But if so, they have shown enough restraint to avoid bringing about the end of the world. Can we do the same? The queen asks. Use magical power instead of animals or human labor to increase production. Blessed Advisor Sam looks as if he's going to be ill at this suggestion.
It's dangerous because the world is already on the brink of disaster with the storms wrought by automation magic.
You say.
But certainly, automation is the most time-tested source of magical power.
Well, do you have any other suggestions? The queen asks. The church's recommendation would be to encourage people to discover the power within themselves. Blessed Advisor Sam says with some agitation. What was that?
He's just like, how do we increase our factory's production? With the power of the will of the people.
With the power of God. I know I'm new here, but how can we just start using magic like this? This is crazy.
In a less metaphorical sense, negative energy could also be used as a power source, or as a source of power.
You say, ignoring the sense of general approbation in the room, you continue.
The Dark Sun is not inherently evil, its power is just most commonly turned into blast using negation magic. But it doesn't have to be so uncontrolled. The negative energy beneath the surface of the Earth could potentially provide a source of power that has none of the climate-altering drawbacks of automation, and our mastery over negation would also prove an advantage in the war. You know that... Oh,
You know that the general superstition about the Dark Sun is still rampant, so you decide to close on a brighter note.
Or, finally, we could engineer beasts to take the place of what the machines might have done. Dodecapeds, dragons, their food would be a very safe source of energy.
And what is your recommendation? The queen prompts.
Alright, here we go. So, automation... dragons... To be honest, I'm actually leaning towards beasts. Having dodecapeds, flying on dragons. It's cool. I like that.
It'd be pretty neat.
I'm gonna go with that. As much as I'm, like, focusing on automation, it's also really risky, so I'd rather keep that, like, a little down on a DL.
And Vivimancy's risk is wild magic, essentially. You don't know what's going to happen.
Let's go with beasts. Your Majesty, I think there's another way.
You say.
Every living thing can get its power from food, and better food means more power. I think I can design beasts that will do much of the heavy lifting in our foundries and factories, and I can make them strong with magically designing greens that carry all the energy they need. Oh wait, did I just... Wait, oh fuck.
What?
Did I just pitch Vivimancy?
Yeah. What do you think it was?
Okay, I thought it was just training dragons and shit.
Well. Isn't Vivimancy often unpredictable in its results? Queen Thekla asked skeptically.
I've had relatively good success with it so far.
You've used it like twice.
Yep, relatively.
You say it truthfully. Are you suddenly very terrified of...
I didn't know what I was saying.
You say it truthfully.
It seems not so unpredictable as the story suggests.
The church recommends that we not repeat the hubris of the ancients in this. Blessed Sam Advisor warns. Though they thought themselves wiser than Abraxas in creating new beasts, these are the very monsters that now roam the kingdom. But the ancients only lost control of those monsters once the mages were no longer around to control them, Queen Thekla says. No, I think it makes sense to try it. We can make peaceful beasts, right?
Of course. You
say. Let it be so, Queen Thekla says. We can decide later whether to also engineer beasts of war. Blessed Advisor Sam looks possibly sick at the suggestion, but says nothing.
I'm over here just like, yes, let's create monsters to fight the wars. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to my room and just start mass studying Vivimancy.
It will not be easy to convince the people that magic is suddenly acceptable, the Queen says. Perhaps some glamour magic is in order to ensure that the people are willing to follow where I lead. The church will not approve of a secular ruler impersonating a saint with magic, Blessed Sam, Advisor Sam says. God, Sam has just gotten so much worse.
Damn.
Please let the people be in awe of only the saints, so that they may hold goodness in the highest regard instead of power. I mean, that's kind of a bitch move to say, don't you think?
It is.
Since you would not want the queen to use glamour blindly, you also explain the effects of rot to her. The queen blanches at your explanation of rot, but murmurs, I'm prepared to do whatever it takes to lead the kingdom. But will it be worth it? What do you think? So she can have people really adore her and listen to her, but she will get cancer.
So either suggest glamour, fuck the church, suggest divination, building bonds of trust. This is actually risky because then we'd be giving, well, possibly giving secrets to the people as well.
A lot of information from the queen out, probably.
Which would probably be safer if someone else did the divination and not her specifically, but she wants to do it, so tell the queen she needs no glamour, she's always straight. Flirt, just like, hey, I know this is an important meeting.
How you doing?
What are you up to? Tell the queen she needs no glamour, she's already most impressive. The drawbacks of glamour are worth it. Old-fashioned charisma must win over the people.
That's a rough one, isn't it?
This is a rough one. I'm gonna be
very
honest.
good at. You are very good at divination, also.
Yeah. I mean, it's either this or this. I'm gonna be real.
Yeah.
It's either the people's people or divination.
No magic or divination.
I mean, let's be honest. I'm going a divination run. I might as well pitch it.
Yeah, you already ended up pitching a Vivimancy war machine somehow.
I'm already a divination innator. Sorry, Sam. I'm doing my thing. I have a different idea.
You say.
Perhaps in a time of change, the people only need better lines of communication with their queen. I could make it so that a direct link is established between you and every town. Oh, so if it's between me, then it would just give information about me.
Between you, as in the queen.
Yeah. Oh, no, I know between you, but I'm making the link. And usually that's how the things work. Like when I was in town with the crystal balls, I was the one that was getting the feeling of being watched, and not the mayor.
Well, you were getting the feeling of being watched because you were walking through the town. Anyone who walked through the town got the feeling of being watched.
Oh, I thought it was because I make the divination magic.
No.
Okay, never mind then.
It's each person at the end of the phone.
Okay. No longer shall the people indirectly hear about your decrees from town criers. Instead, they shall see your image and hear your words directly, and you'll be able to hear from them in turn.
Grindekla seems intrigued by this idea. What says the church? She says, turning to Blessed Advisor Sam. Blessed Advisor Sam frowns. It seems unsubtle. You would be broadcasting to the whole kingdom that you are now a user of magic. If this inspired a whole kingdom to tinker with the dark arts, the result could be disastrous. That seems a far-fetched complaint, Grindekla says. She has literally not listened to one thing Sam has said.
So that's because so far Sam's solutions are, we don't need to change. And the queen's over here like, we gotta prepare for war. This is a war meeting.
And Sam's like, but you just gotta believe in yourself.
I wouldn't listen to Sam either if all of his options are, Dad, we're fine. We're fine.
Do not these dark arts require some degree of skill? I mean, I see no downside in appealing to the masses at an individual level. I find the idea quite charming, really. Let it be so.
Anyways, here we go.
Over the next few months, as the days get colder and the first snow begins to fall, you furiously work in private on new spells powerful enough to change the fate of a kingdom. With your newfound experience of magic, the advanced book you found in the sunken library, Megillah Megaya, or Great Magic, now seems at least somewhat intelligible to you. Wow, I forgot about that book.
I forgot we got that, but we sure did.
And you concentrate on the parts that deal with Vivimancy magic. In a barn on a royal ranch, an hour's ride from the capital, you conduct magical Vivimancy experiments to create animals with more power and endurance than any tame animal since the time of the ancients. The queen supplies you with even more exotic caged beasts. Nightmares, pseudo-dragons, chimeras, red-tusked cataplope. Sure. And you draw their essence and infuse them into more familiar animals, such as horses and elephants.
I'm creating a real war elephant.
You're creating the elephants from the end of Return of the King. You also experiment with taking the more promising wild monsters, such as a shaggy white dodecapede, and rendering them a bit more docile. Actually, you aren't entirely certain whether you're successful to tame these beasts, as if they're all just a bit lethargic from the cold. You suppose you'll find out in the spring. As a final benefit of all these experiments, having a variety of animals and monsters on hand is useful for your alchemical experiments. From some peacock feathers, rabbit fur, and baby dragon scales, you brew a potion that permanently enhances your glamour.
That thing I rarely use because I want to live a decent
Hold on,
life.
show your stats. How much did that thing increase your Vivimancy?
Actually, I'm pretty decent at it.
Not bad.
Like, it could be a lot higher, sure, but this...
Your divination just keeps going up.
Sure is. I'm very good at being divine. I'm very. Look at this. I'm
Your
getting
ancient
actually.
history. You got real smart. Oh my god, I just noticed how much your solemnness got increased by fucking Fear's death.
Yeah, it
Because
was
you were definitely
lots.
humorous before.
Sandwich still hasn't gone down.
I
Damn.
mean, he said you would still remain friends despite disagreeing.
Anyways, I don't like that
Something
this
else.
ends in just right.
Something else you realize, you tend to go down to the bottom of the text, don't you? Your
Well,
eyes.
so yeah, because I like to see what if I have options in this page, but
Something else you realize as you study the Megillah Magaya more and more is that the ancients knew tricks to make magic safer that are lost to you. The book makes passing references to precautions every wizard takes. Apparently, wizards are supposed to draw runes and magic circles before casting big spells that reduce the negative side effects of the magic. But you have no idea what these runes and circles should look like or how they work. Oh well. The ancients were a whole civilization that used magic. Surely one person can't be as dangerous as that, even if that person doesn't really know how to use magic safely.
I
Right?
definitely missed something somewhere that could reduce the dangers of magic.
You know, something important was missed here. Meanwhile, the queen begins experimenting with public addresses to the various towns of the kingdom. With your magical help, she begins to project her image to far-flung towns that have never seen the queen visit in person before. Town by town, she tells the people that she cares for them and she lists progress on local construction projects and criminal cases, explaining any delays or setbacks. You think the people are really beginning to love the queen for this?
Hey,
But all the time she spends communicating with these towns leaves her a bit distracted, and you don't have a chance to talk to her as much as you would like to.
oh,
Attending the Queen's Court is often unpleasant business, as you need to be near a variety of people who radiate contempt and disdain for you. It's perhaps no surprise that some of the oldest and most powerful guilds don't like you. You represent a threat to their monopolies and influence. Magic is an axis on which they can't fight. The oldest dames and dukes also lean conservative, and therefore your implicit heresy does not sit well with them either, you liberal fuck.
oh, fuck me, I guess.
On the other hand, many of the younger nobles and smaller guilds welcome your threat to the established order. They hope you'll use magic to upend monopolies, bust trusts, and essentially bring the destabilization that the old guard fears so that they can have a shot. Jesus Christ. There's a lot. There's a lot going on here because of you.
Jesus.
You can play their games. It might bring you bit more security at court to reduce the power of the old guard, but you must admit you have little taste for manipulation.
Uh, truly, it's just, do I not give a shit, or do I use my divination to fuck with him? It would be funny if I did.
It'd be funny. What's the harm? What's the harm?
The harm is it might make them hate me.
I mean, yeah, but also remember we're in the phase of we're trying to get strengthen the kingdom. Will this strengthen the kingdom?
No.
You seem to be second guessing that no.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. You try casting divination that connect one old noble to another, exposing their worst secrets. This works well, although the magic can easily be traced back to you. The guildmasters and noble spies verify that they see is no deception. Concentrated on each other's moves and reaction to this revelation, they have no time to think about removing you from power. But they aren't happy with you either. Increased vilification.
Yeah, whatever.
You basically just started shit. You just started drama.
Yeah, I sure did. Fuck him.
As you remained on good terms with Sam, you make a habit of debating the future of the kingdom with him as you stroll the palace grounds. On such meetings, you find both seated next to a fountain in the center of the palace gardens. I'm sure your changes will help protect the kingdom against the Magisterians, Sam says. But you do understand the dangers, right? The more people trust in magic, the less they will trust in Abraxas and each other.
People will be people. I'll do what I can to support. The church is just afraid of losing power.
Damn, you can really go all in with this, huh? I feel like you feel nothing to any of these.
I really don't, I'm gonna be honest. But I mean, I get what he's saying. I'm not gonna say this. It's truly just between these two, and I don't want him to hate me that much. I'm just gonna go with this.
I appreciate that, Sam says. Queen Thecla seems to value your word highly. The fact that you ultimately support the church will mean a great deal.
You're gonna tell her I said so?
Why wouldn't I? Sam says with a shrug. You're growing closer to Sam than ever.
Yay.
Yeah, you support the church. You seem to receive a letter from Mayor Costa telling that it has happened in Ackerton since you left. Crime continues to be an all-time low in Ackerton. It's much nicer with Silver Paladins and Twilight Band both broken up. But Cost can't help but feel that Ackerton is a little more muted and subdued than it once was. Parties break up earlier and people always seem a little nervous. Cost supposes it's the price one pays for security.
Well, that sucks.
He just made
Anyways.
fucking, like, communist China
Yeah.
in Ackerton.
And I left.
And then you left. Both you and Tal left. One day, near the end of winter, Tal bursts into the room where you secretly meet with the Queen. Guards try to restrain her, but Queen Thecla waves them away. Tal is panting for breath, still dusty from the road. She doesn't dress for an audience. In fact, she still has noodles tied around her waist.
Oh.
A big airship, Tal says between breaths. Over the neighbors, east of Ackerton. I rode as fast as I could. You feel slightly guilty for not establishing any kind of communication link with Tal, which would have saved her the trip, but you're still wary of revealing the old secrets you've kept from her for so long. Oh yeah, what was the secret that you kept?
That I was the one that led to her losing an eye.
That's right, and she didn't actually lose an eye.
Yeah.
Did it attack? The Queen says, rising from her seat. Tal shakes her head. I think it was testing us. Just a cat jumping on a table, seeing whether we'll shoo it away. What did it look like? Queen Thecla asks, and Tal goes on to describe a sleek, rounded vessel with a flat bottom and 4 long, equally spaced black poles protruding from its sides and top.
They're essentially giant wands of negation.
You say.
The warships of the ancients were equipped with them.
After Tal gives a detailed report, the Queen dictates some instructions to messengers bound for towns near the Negative Sea. Tal turns to leave, but Queen Thecla invites her and you to dinner instead. You will risk your life many times over in the months ahead, the Queen says gravely. The least I can do is feed you. Unsurprisingly, Tal did not pack any dresses fit for the dinner with the Queen, but Queen Thecla arranges for one of her ladies-in-waiting with an appropriately slender build to lend Tal something suitably elaborate. Tal arrives at dinner with a cream-colored dress with a high collar, bell sleeves, and crinolet stiffened skirt. On her head wears a black feathered fascinator. A fascinator? Okay, interesting. She looks beautiful and miserable. The Queen wears a crinoline stiff... God, fucking hell, the fashion shit. Crinoline stiffened crimson dress with a black corset that looks even more uncomfortable, but she seems perfectly at home as she takes her seat. The three of you dine in the same small dining room that has become a familiar through your meetings with the Queen. A couple guards stand watch by the exit. You wonder whether the Queen would be incautious if she knew Tal was a shapeshifter. You don't know the Queen's feelings about the matter, but some famous historical assassinations were carried out by those magically enhanced descendants of the Magisterians. Over the course of the long meal, Tal picks at one strange offering after another, but dutifully eating the sous vide eggs, the mushroom sorbet, and even the head cheese and mole sauce. This is a lot. Somehow, the cook must have heard Tal was adventurous and thought the term applied to her eating habits. You, on the other hand, think the food is delicious. Queen Thecla and Tal exchange pleasantries and talk a little about their families, but they aren't really connecting. Then the Queen relates an anecdote from her childhood that ends with, "Of course, I didn't really have any friends then, besides my nanny and my stuffed bear." Tal perks up at this. What was the bear's name? Bear Bearson.
Alright.
The Queen shrugs and smiles. I still have him in my bedroom closet. Couldn't bear to part with him, I guess. You exchange a surprised look with Tal. Did that just happen? The Queen just laughs, not at her own terrible pun, you gather, but at the look on your faces. Tal chuckles and shakes her head, wondering why she was so nervous before. Slowly the room begins to thaw. I have a stuffed animal myself, Tal says. Noodles the monkey. I saw, the Queen says. You were wearing him around your waist when you delivered your report. Tal blushes at this. I wear them for good luck. She mutters, even awkward again. Now awkward again. This seems like your chance to intervene.
Do I animate the two? Do I animate Barbarison but save Tal the embarrassment of animating Noodles? Bring up how tired Tal must be, helping her escape from the dinner faster. My only solution is to animate the bears? Okay. I already found that I didn't want to animate Noodles. I made that decision earlier, so I'm probably gonna stick with that. Do I just have her fucking dip from the dinner? I feel like that's gonna decrease my relationship with the queen even more. Maybe I animate Barbarison. Let's see how maybe that'll pan out for me. You know, what's the worst that could happen? She hates me the whole time? Who knows?
Who knows? I mean, your relationship's already not that great with the queen, is it?
Yeah, it's going downhill. Where are we at? It's 56. It's going downhill slowly.
Still better than the church.
The
church is still above half somehow.
If this goes up, maybe... Who knows? Let's see. Let's try it. Animate the Barbarison. I could animate Barbarison for you, Queen Thekla.
You offer?
I've done it for a few times with Noodles. The result can be unpredictable. No, I didn't. That's a lie.
I'm interested, the queen says, and you describe how it works. Her eyes light up at the possibility. Yes, that sounds delightful. I'll have a servant fetch my old friend at once. A servant leaves to fetch the bear. While you're waiting, the queen enthusiastically tells you about the imaginary adventures she would go on with her favorite bear. Did you go on adventures with Noodles? The queen asked Tal. He's not really an adventure monkey, Tal says vaguely. More like a monkey. The servant returns shortly with a stuffed brown bear wearing a vest and bowler hat. He's well worn but still cute. The queen props up the bear while you raise a hand and murmur the words of animation. Lightning arcs from the ceiling to your raised hand, then arcs from your other hand to the bear. The stuffed bear looks to the queen and bows. Oh, the queen says, delightfully clapping. What else can he do?
That's determined largely by your imagination.
You explain. The queen considers this, then turns to one of the guards near the door. Royal Guard Tem, would you be willing to spar with Barbarison?
Oh my god.
I beg your pardon, your majesty. The mustached guard says uncomfortably. Well, you don't have to, but if you could, just lower your halberd and act fierce towards Barbarison for a moment. Royal Guard Tem does so, lowering his long halberd if he's set to charge. Barbarison, a show of your skill, the queen
this
says.
bear's gonna assassinate the guard.
Barbarison wall jumps to the wall behind him, tumbles end over end in the air, and drop kicks into a Royal Guard Tem's forehead, which sends the guard sprawling to the ground. The falling halberd is caught by the bear, who uses it to vault, lifts the halberd again in midair, spins it, and sends the blade into the floor next to the guard's ear.
Holy shit! Let's employ this bear. Hell yeah!
The bear comes to the rest of the guard's chest, where he turns, doffs his hat, and bows to the queen. Oh my, the queen says. Well, you're an adventure bear, aren't you? Dreadfully sorry, Royal Guard Tam. Not a problem, your majesty, says Royal Guard Tam, painfully picking himself up. A lesson in vigilance. The bear jumps off the guard, making an unnecessary acrobatic flip in the air as he does so. Yeah, Noodles is a little bit sillier than that, Tam says, but, neat bear. Barbarison stands guard next to the other royal guards for the rest of the evening, and the queen casts appreciative looks his way until the spell wears off and he is once again a bodyguard bear, only in part of Queen Thekla's imagination. And we are going to need to end this soon because it is 11 o'clock and today is still Thursday.
Great success.
Great success.
How close are we to the end of the chapter, you think?
I don't know.
Maybe we should just get to the end of the dinner then.
Yeah. 1 second.
Barbarison really is the true hero of this journey.
It is quite the MVP. As dessert is served, some kind of pudding that arrives on fire to the queen's delight and Tal's dismay, the queen says, Tal, I am so intrigued by you, and you seem so tense at dinner. Relax. I'm a person too. Just talk to me as if you're anybody else. Tal's grin is sour. Here's just something done. You're the queen. Tekla looks slightly sad at this reminder. A liveried servant blows out the flame of dessert. The queen waves him away. I suppose you wouldn't believe that it's something not excellent to be the queen, Queen Tekla says. Oh, boo-hoo, Tal says. Then she claps her hands over her mouth. Excuse me, your highness, I am very sorry. Queen Tekla shakes her head. It's so hard to elicit honesty. You have no idea. Please, just say whatever's in your mind. Really? Tal says. Neither she nor the queen has touched the pudding, so you follow suit. Really? Tal says Queen Tekla. I'm not going to clap you into iron just being controversial. Tal takes a deep breath. I think you should get rid of the shapeshifter laws. The queen gives Tal a level look. Can you read this one real quick?
Alright. My parents would say you are being foolish, the queen says, now starting in on the pudding. They were engineered to be assassins, they said. You can't assume they're like humans. That is so incorrect. Tal says, still not touching her pudding. People think shapeshifters are more merciless than regular humans, but... Tal freezes. Oh, come on, Queen Tekla says. She points her spoon at Tal. I knew you were a shapeshifter from the moment you asked about it. Just say what you're gonna say. We're often part human, Tal says. My mother's human, and I really don't think the old lore about us being more cruel is even true. Maybe it's just who we've had to be sometimes, like anybody. Queen Tekla seems struck by Tal's remark. She looks downcast. Well, I'm sorry, but I don't know what would happen if we struck the shapeshifter laws. A lot of people would be pretty happy about it, Tekla says. Think about it. We can look like anything, and our babies with humans are always shapeshifters. Just how many of us do you think there are? The queen's eyes widen as she contemplates the implications. I suppose they are my subjects. I have the option of the shapeshifter law should be repealed, suggest the queen and Tal meet again to discuss the issues more, agree that the shapeshifter law should be repealed, but don't suggest the queen and Tal spend any more time together. Whisper to Tal that she's pushing her luck and should try back. No, I'm gonna
Just whispering to your girlfriend, hey, stop being progressive.
Stop. No, I'm gonna back Tal on this.
Yeah.
Even though I'm sure that it's gonna lead to Tekla being assassinated in like 2 chapters, but whatever. Here we go.
I think there's only one more chapter left. I think chapter 7's it.
Your Highness, you really ought to consider repealing these laws, you say. I'm sure you'd think so too, if only you knew Tal better. I assure you that you can trust Tal absolutely. Perhaps you should spend some time with her and learn more about the shapeshifters. They're your subjects too. Well, perhaps I should at that, Tekla says. What do you say, Tal? I've got to get back on the road, Tal says, shaking her head, but I won't refuse a royal command. Can we do it tomorrow? Tomorrow, then. The next day, you see the Queen and Tal walking together in the palace garden, smiling and seeming to enjoy each other's company. Later that night, you see them chatting in the small dining room used the previous night. And they're still chatting when you talk about when you're about ready for bed. The next day, Tal is gone by the time you get up, and you're somewhat unsurprised when Tekla announces in the throne room that the old anti-shapeshifter laws have been repealed. That's probably...